Welcome to the Speak with People podcast. My name is Jason Raitz. I'll be your host, and this podcast exists to help you improve your communication skills. Whether you communicate one-on-one, to a team, from a stage, or from behind a screen, we know that when we improve our communication skills as leaders, it exponentially changes everything. It improves our relationships, it improves our leadership skills, and it improves our business skills. So let's get ready to dive into this next episode. Well, how do you turn your passion into a successful business? How do you take your gift, and if your gift is being an artist, and how do you successfully share it with other people online for other people to enjoy? And really, why should you share your gift? And then if you do share it, how will that create opportunities for people to enjoy it? We're talking about all of this today on the Speak with People podcast. I have an incredible guest. I've been looking forward to this for a long time because I have been friends with him for an absolutely long time. And he is an unbelievable human being. I have known him for years, and he is a stand-up leader, incredible communicator, and an artist that will just knock your socks off. I'm going to stop right now, but I'm going to bring him on. But I'm so proud to call him a friend. Nicholas Reynolds, thank you so much for being on the Speak with People podcast.
Bro, I've been waiting for this opportunity too. Like just talking to you, bro, catching up with you on the phone is awesome, but then to be on a pod is even better, bro. So I'm ready to chop it up, bro. Let's get straight to it.
I love it. Well, I'll never forget. I'll go back in time here for a second. I tell a story as a speaker where I bring up a picture of the 5th grade version of myself. I talk about self-worth and image, and it's a baller pic. I mean, I don't know what the kids say today, fly, or I don't even know what they say, but I'm looking pretty good. But you, my friend, you took it to the next level. You made a cartoon version out of it, and it just spread like wildfire. All of a sudden, we had stickers of it, and it was on mugs. It was awesome. Well, hey, before we jump into your work, your art, your business, what you've learned from communicating it, and all that kind of stuff, why don't you take people into a little bit of your story? What kind of brought you to this point?
Man, I would go back to little Nick, right? I always wanted to be an artist. I remember at one point my goal, I had, and it seems so distant, was to sell a piece of art for $100. That was a goal at one point. It was to sell a piece of art for $100, and I hit that goal, and it felt good. But then even just going back to the 90s and because I'm a 90s baby, born 1990. Right. I feel old. People tell me I'm still young, but I remember adults tell me there's no money in art, and during that time there wasn't. There was, but in the 90s, this is .com era wasn't really bumping like that. Actually, I hadn't even started to the 2000s. It didn't blow up, so really there wasn't a lot of money in art. But little did they know that market was going to open up, and I kept that dream going.
Yep.
Now the thing is I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to create. And so whether that was, at one point I wanted to be an architect, and I didn't go to school for architecture, but I worked at a firm. Oddly enough, I was in a drafting class that got me an internship at a firm, and I worked there for about 4 weeks. And this is prior to going to CMU. No, not 4 weeks, 4 months. Prior to going to CMU. And I remember sitting in a chair and in my head, all I knew about architecture was Mr. Brady from the Brady Bunch. And it was okay, this guy's got it. I want a house like that, bro. Give me the 12 kids, bro. Give me something like that. And I worked at the firm, bro, and nothing. There aren't any drafting tables. Everyone's working on AutoCAD, which I knew how to do AutoCAD because of my drafting class, but it was so boring. It was so boring. The only time they got up was for smoke breaks or to go visit the sites. And I knew immediately this is not the route that I want to take to get here. At some point, I do want to design my own house, but I don't want to go this route. This is boring. It's just coffee breaks and smoke breaks, and I'm good. And so then CMU comes up, played ball there, and there was almost this silent period. I was still drawing and everything, nurturing the gift, and I want to say it was my junior year. I was taking a printing class, t-shirt printing class. It was just a little elective on the side. And I printed a shirt that said Cool Life Living. Now, you know where that's going, Right. So they said Cool Life Living, and I printed it. And then like I went out like one night, people kept asking, how do I get that shirt? How do I get it? So
Yep.
I was like, okay, there's a demand. So I started making other people's shirts. And so that's where that business started. Tailgates would happen. And like I would have a backpack full of shirts. People have backpacks full of beers. I just had a backpack full of shirts and like, just like flipping shirts on St. Patty's Day and like, at like tailgates and stuff like that. And, just making a business out of it. And then it kind of just died down. And it was almost like I think the best way to describe it is that I felt like I stopped dreaming again. And I didn't know where to take it. I didn't know if I wanted to speak in schools. I did. I think at one point you offered me your nonprofit.
Yes.
Like literally, and then there was a lawyer who because I did a 2-minute pitch because I was in a business program. I did a 2-minute pitch and I was trying to raise money to become a nonprofit. And then like, here you are, you offered being a nonprofit. And the guy who was it was this lawyer in the crowd, he said, hey, I went to CMU. He said, I'll just do it for you for free. And we were sitting at the, what is it? Not the student center, not the SAC, but it was the, it was the main hub at CMU where like you get like financial aid and stuff like that in the market that. And we were sitting there and I had the paper in front of me. It was like you were signing it over and I just froze. And I was just like, man, I don't know if I want to be a nonprofit. Like, is this the route that I want to take?
Yep.
And I apologized to the guy for wasting his time. I think I reached out to you. I was like, hey, I'm not going to go that route. And I don't even know if I should have or not, but I didn't. And that just left me stuck in Mount Pleasant. I didn't want to go back to Kalamazoo. So I stayed. And that led to me becoming a youth pastor.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with like nurturing the gifts of youth and building relationships with youth. And really a better way to put it would be being the adult that I wish I had, being the youth pastor that I wish I had. Not that my youth pastor was smooth, but like I got to be a better version of that. I got to take what he gave me and build off of that.
Yep.
And then that just turned into its own thing. And I was in youth ministry for roughly 10 years. I was in youth ministry. And it was a beautiful thing. And to be able to nurture their creativity, but then use mine to build them up. There's this thing called multi-sensory preaching and teaching, which is something that I studied, not just preaching at people, but having that conversation, but then introducing different elements of, well, we're like talking about coffee. Well, let me pump the smell of coffee into the room while I talk about it. If we talk about cookies, I'm going to pump the smell of cookies and then even just have milk sitting there. The sound of waves. If I talk about the ocean or the sound of thunder, and just like I fell in love with the creativity of that. I'm just a very creative person. And like, I just live it. I breathe it, like everything about me. And I believe that my definition of creativity is problem solving. And that can go into so many aspects of life because it's not necessarily, hey, what's the problem? How do we figure it out? But like, I once read this quote. It said, anywhere you see duct tape in the world, there's a business, right? Anywhere, And so, like wherever I saw status quo, I considered that duct tape.
Yeah.
Wherever I saw stagnation or in fact, where I saw someone being stagnant in their walk or their life, like to me, it was like, okay, that is a creative problem to solve. Or I see somebody frustrated with something, or if I'm, Bill Hybels, a book that you gave, it was Bill Hybels, he called it a holy discontent.
Right.
Yeah, the holy discontent. And actually, let me use that. I'm going to pause right there. The holy discontent.
Yeah.
That was the feeling that at every time that I felt stagnant or I felt like I stopped dreaming, I now understand that as a holy discontent of that was the waiting room right before the elevation to the next level. It was the frustration that caused me to look at my area and just like really just ask, like, do I really want to do this? They do it like just to project, like, like 10 years from now, like, man, like, do I do the caricatures, like when I drew little Jason, right? Like that was a moment where like it was lucrative and people wanted it and I enjoyed it. But then when I sat back and I asked, do I really want to draw caricatures for people? Right. For 5 more years. So the answer is no. So I'm going to scrap that idea. And I just want to pause there as well, that like some people, they stick with a good thing and they miss out on the great. And you have to listen to the unction that like, that really just, it's Dr. N.T. Wright. He talks about the kingdom of God being like an echo. And I'm butchering it because that guy is so deep. But it's like a calling out to the soul of like really just a calling of like, you ever just look at a sunset and like just looking at it and being there just doesn't even feel like it's enough because the moment is so rich. That's almost like, I would describe that is similar to like a calling in life, that like where you are does not align with where you're going. It's almost like being like a lion stuck in a cage, you know? And so there was a moment when I was playing football, and this is before like Cool Life Living took off. I was sitting in line during O-line drills and like, you know, just waiting my turn. And it was a beautiful spring. It was a beautiful spring evening. The sky was like hued with orange and pink. And I was sitting there, and that's when that discontent, that echo was just calling me. Like, I remember just thinking like, there has to be more to life than this. Like there has to be more to just being on a football team. Like that, like it wasn't even something that was a moment. There was like, man, I don't want to go next level. Like my knees are shot. Like, do I really want to play? Like, do I really want to like beat up my body for another 5 years of playing?
Right.
And I asked myself, I said, there has to be more than this. And like not too long after that is when I quit. It was my senior year when I was supposed to start. And like that coach, he still to this day won't talk to me. Yeah, like I quit. And the thing is like looking back, I don't regret the decision, because had he got a better job offer, he would have left.
Right.
And so I don't think it was fair for him to even be upset with me, but I get it. And so that's when I quit, you know, pursued Cool Life Living. And like, it's amazing how like every single, what can be deemed as a failure, they were just stepping stones.
Yep.
Like I would just learn. And if you go, I have another page, it's I_C_motion. And then, right now I just post my kids. But if you like scroll all the way down, you'll see the journey of my creativity. I believe it started as me doing graphics. I would jump on Fiverr, and I started doing graphics for churches all across like really the globe. And now it's like that niche is like flooded. I like to think that I started that. It's flooded. And I was just doing graphics, and then that was another moment. It was like, man, I really don't want to do this. So I would scrap it. It's lucrative, but I scrapped it. And I would pull clients from there. Then I just started doing graphics for other people, and I wanted to do like a creative marketing. We do like creative marketing, or like I have what's the word I'm looking for? Like a creative firm, pretty much, right? We do graphics, videos, and everything. And I had to ask myself, well, is this really what I want to do? And what it came down to, and this went from there to caricatures to like selling artwork that people wanted. It was just a lot of stuff, videography, photography. I tried every single field, and all of these things, they made me more valuable. And looking back, actually, like my assistant now, I showed her a video that I made in youth ministry. And she was like, is there anything you can't do? And I was like, well, eat tuna. I don't like tuna. You know, like that's it. And like, but you know, like to her, she was amazed that there were all these things that I can do. And like, it almost sounded like sounded like it was unfair. But little did she know, every single thing that I learned came from moments that people would call failure, but I took them as opportunities where I'm going to expose myself to a thing, and I'm going to submit myself to a thing, and then pretty much allow it to build me where I can learn these things, because I wanted to figure out, is this worth doing?
Yeah.
And then people, the biggest question that I get, the number one question I get is like, what would you tell a creator? Or either a creator is asking me like, you know, you have any advice for me? I'm just getting started, you know, any advice? I want to start shoes. I want to do this. And my answer is start. Just start. Don't you're waiting for me to give you an answer that will motivate you.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Yep.
And I'm not going to do that. Like if you are curious, if there's a curiosity or an unction that you have to try a thing, try it. Yep. Do it.
I love
because
that.
you don't know where it's going to lead.
Right.
Like I'm not a photographer, but I can work a camera.
Yeah.
I have the eye for photography. Like I'm not a videographer, but if I need to record something, I'm going to do it. Yeah. Whether it's with my phone or it's with, I don't have my camera over here, but or it's with a camera, right? You have to submit yourself to ideas sometimes, just so that you can simply learn what you need to learn and then move on.
Yeah.
Like not everything is a forever thing.
Right. So where did the dream then? I mean, for Shoe Baker, and what was that first when you took that first step and you started? How was that birth? Did somebody ask you to do something and then it just kind of steamrolled? Because now Shoe Baker, right? I mean, your Instagram page, don't get me wrong, but I mean it's like 100,000 plus people. I mean that's massive.
It's a lot.
I mean,
yeah.
that's a lot. You got thousands on your YouTube. I mean it's crazy. So this thing has, you obviously provided something that people wanted, which incredibly wise. So where did that first dream start?
It was during lockdown 2020. So I would use, because the creative stuff was like more of a hobby. I would use like the extra cash and like just buy shoes, and like it was just like, I'm just gonna stay fresh. I was a youth pastor, so like, well, let me, I need to look fresh. I need to look good. I need to have the cool shoes. Like it buys you clout, so that I can get close enough to have that like relationship. And I had bought a pair of it was triple black Fear Gods. I hit for them on the Nike app. I got those. They cost $300. Very comfortable shoes. They came in the mail. My goal was I was actually going to flip it. I was trying to see, I was trying the idea of like reselling shoes. Yeah. And I got them. I put them on. They were very comfortable. And I knew that like there was a highly coveted style of shoe. And I went to stand up. Very comfortable, bro. I was proud. And then I realized I had nowhere to go. It was lockdown. like where am I about to go? And even that realization led to the thought of like, why did I buy these? I'm literally buying shoes to impress other people. Not only that, but I'm buying shoes that everyone else has. And so really the only people who would be impressed are the people who couldn't afford it, or the people who didn't get it on a Nike app. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you love shoes, like I still have shoes. But like my heart is different. And so then I started seeing people painting shoes online. They would use like Angelus paint and they would paint online. I was like, okay, that's cool. And I'm this is right in that waiting period of like, well, I don't really want to do caricatures anymore. Or I don't want to draw logos or stuff like that anymore. And so I was like, well, let me take everything I learned as far as photography and design and stuff like that, and let me see if I can paint some shoes. And so I got an old pair of Nikes and I started painting shoes, and it was cool. And I just went by NDR Creative, which is like my initials and then creative. And like that, and that was cool. I think, I grew my page to about 2,000, which is my current personal page now. So you'll see that, just bro, go through. It's awesome to look at. Like you just see like the flow from like graphics to caricatures, and then it's like shoes. Like who is this guy? And then I had this thought. There's this shoe designer. His name is Shoe Surgeon. So I'm like, well, I need a cool name. And so I believe, like, I was like, man, like, well, what about Baker? Like Shoe Baker. And so like I was like, okay, I put that in and started at 0. It was Shoe Baker, and the whole concept was that I was going to make shoes that look like baked goods. I was just having fun with it. And then when I started, now keep in mind, for me, creativity is problem solving. Right. I thought it was a problem that people only use paint. It's like, man, like, well, like from woodworking, I learned how to use resin. And like resin would be a really cool idea. It would be a really sweet idea if I made a shoe look like it was wet, but it really wasn't wet. And so that sparked the idea. And so then it was like, well, instead I think it was October. I was in my garage, and like, it was like maybe October 15th or something like that. And so I was like, well, if I add red dye to the resin, I can make it look like blood. While everyone else is painting blood on the shoe, I can make the shoe look like there's actually like blood splatter on it. So I grabbed the black pair of Air Force Ones. I used acrylic paneling because I have engraver. That's another venture where like I bought an engraver just to buy an engraver. I was like, man, like this is just an idea. It's a paintbrush to me. Got an engraver. I cut like the masking and stuff like that. Learned how to thermoform the acrylic, put it on, and I posted it. Woke up, it went viral. And when you go viral, especially around the time that it went viral, like it went viral for a while. Like, and I sold some shoes. Like I think I was selling them for like $150. No, $250 at that time. I was selling them for like $250, and it was like, okay, this is making money. So I'm thinking after Halloween, it's going to stop. No, those sales carried on through the next year.
Wow.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I was like, wow, I have a business.
Yep.
So yeah, and here's the funny story: is like it's the same business I had in college. It's still cool life living. So that's what I mean. Is like you just have to start. You never know. You can't. I had to, like, the older I get, the more mature I get, I should say. Like, you learn to, like, let go of future possibilities and live in the moment.
Mm.
Because if you try to predict the future, like, it's okay to set goals, but you try to predict the future and you hang on to what you see, right? Rather than the why of, like, of why you want to get there, like, then you'll sabotage yourself.
Yeah.
Because, like, when I was doing Cool Life Living, the idea of painting on shoes, if you painted on your shoes, people would have laughed at you. They would have called your shoes fake because that colorway never dropped, right? But what I started in 2011 is literally what I'm working on in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I can't even tell you how that opened up doors, because, like, that's an active business account for how long?
Right.
Right. And so, like, you just have to start. Like, you can't be so bogged down by, like, what is. So fast forward, the shoes go viral. And so I coined the phrase, I bake different. Right. Like that, like, it wasn't necessarily about, like, painting the best, because there are painters out there far greater than me, way better. It wasn't about being better.
Yeah.
No one cares about better. Honestly, no one even believes better, because how do you even determine better? I mean, unless there are, like, numerical ways of, like doing that. But when it comes to art is very subjective. So someone can say they're better than me. Good job. You know, I hope that you think that you're better than me, right? And, like, in your craft, like, you should be. Right, like, you should be confident about yourself.
Yeah.
But, like, you can drive a billboard that says, "Hey, we're not number one, we're number two," and it's, like, for plumbing, like, something like that, like, which is a great phrase. That was, like, an actual billboard I've seen before, right? But, like, people always say they're number one. Who cares?
Yep.
What people want to know is, can you get the job done? Right? And then another thing people are looking for is different. They want different. I've seen this before. I've seen this colorway. I've seen a red and black colorway before. I've seen someone paint flowers on a shoe before. I've seen someone take a toothbrush, dip it in red paint, and splatter it on a shoe before. But have you ever seen a shoe look like it's dripping with blood, but the blood isn't moving? The blood is still shiny. It looks like you just walked out of a murder scene and you have a Jason mask on the back of it. I've never seen that before. It intrigues people and it causes them to lean in. And that is the goal, is, like, getting people to lean in. As an artist, it is an insult for people to ask you why you did a thing. But when someone asks you how, that is the greatest compliment that someone can ask you. How did you do that? That means that they are intrigued. They're leaning in.
Yeah.
I want to know more. And if you want to know more, I can tell you, right? And in business, that's marketing. You get people intrigued, they lean in, and then you give them a price, and they buy. And so here we are now. I started in 2020. And it went viral. And then, I mean, if you look at my page, it's just like, I just kept doing different. And then also just spamming people. So sometimes I would do something that is just absolutely ridiculous. Like I learned, because I used to think that, like, you want everybody to love the shoe. No, you want half the people to love it and you want half the people to hate it, because they'll argue in the comments and you just sit back and collect.
Right. Right.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Wow. So what's I mean, did it go to the place where all of a sudden you're filling orders all over the country? Did it, like, spread other parts of the world?
Yeah, all around the world. UK, Tokyo, Japan. I think Tokyo is Japan. Germany. I haven't shipped to Africa, I don't think. Down south, like Mexico. Like, all over the world. Like, and that was the first year. Like, that was the first year it went viral. And so I was like, oh, this is nuts, bro. Like, like, and I'm having, not only am I shipping to people, but I'm, like, having conversations with people. Australia. Like that, like, I'm having conversations with people through DM. And, like, it's just, like, it's blowing my mind, because keep in mind, my goal was to sell a product for $100.
Yeah.
So imagine the little boy in me, like how that affirmed the little boy in me.
Right.
Like, here, I just want to sell something for $100, and I have people buying my work for 250 plus. And now, I mean, it's more than that. Like, I think the most I've sold a shoe for is like 5,000.
Holy cow.
Think about the little boy in me. It's just like, right? And so, like, you like that dream, bro, like that childlike wonder.
Yep.
is what it is. So when I keep talking about curiosity, and I don't think many adults do this enough. Like we don't dream anymore. Like we're so like bogged down by the norms of society and what is deemed as acceptable. I can
Yeah.
care less about what's acceptable.
Yeah.
And that's in every aspect of life. Like, because the moment that you realize, okay, think, whatever shoes you have on your feet, right? That was someone's dream at one point.
Yeah.
The house that you're living in, that was someone's dream at one point.
Yeah.
At what point do we start pulling ideas out of our own head and manifesting them?
Yep.
Because that is such a powerful tool.
What percentage of the shoe art you've done you think just sit on a shelf because they're collectors and they're like, we're just putting it up there?
I would say at least half. Like some people wear them, and I would say more than half now. Half in the beginning, just because like I learned the art of firing clients, and so like when I get people like hitting me up, and I can tell that they just want to buy a shoe to wear on a Friday. I like, even if it's good money, I don't want to do it because I just learned that those are difficult clients to work with, because they don't understand the time, effort, and actual like value of the shoe or the art, right? They just want to wear it so that they can like flex on a friend, and those are the people who are most likely to complain, versus the people who fell in love with the process of how I got to where I am, and they literally just, man, like one guy, he just bought a pair of Voorhees, which is the black Jason shoe that I started in my garage. He just bought.
Yeah.
Wow. So he paid about $400 for them. Like it came in, right? I got a DM. He said, man, I'm so excited about these. He said, I've been waiting to get one pair of these for 4 years. For 4 years. He's
Wow.
like the guys that just like smack people. Like, I mean, they smack each other until they knock each other out. He's one of those. So it's not a client that I want to upset.
Yeah.
So like, I'm making sure that I'm taking my time on his, right? I'm not trying to have the guy come to Georgia and just smack me, right? But like, he's gonna wear him out. It's like a debut fight or match, and he's gonna wear him out during the match. He said, man, thousands of people are gonna see this. He said, I'm so excited to be wearing your product. He's like, I've been like wanting these for like, he said, like 3 or 4 years, and that the little boy in me, like it spoke so deeply to the little boy in me, the little boy who was told there is no money in art, right? And it's now that the little boy now has that perspective that like, one, there is money in art, but money was never even the best part. The best part is the value that people have in my craft. And like, even like, I'll even go deeper than that. The best part is not even the craft. The best part is the fact that I am inspiring other artists.
Yeah.
To get to like step outside of their comfort zone. And like, I had people DM me like at least once or twice a week. Hey man, you inspired me to like create again.
Wow.
And that resonates with me.
Oh, I can tell you, stepping out and doing speak with people, when I get those kind of DMs and they're just like, watching your videos, and I finally just decided I need it. I'm like, okay, you're right. There's just something so powerful about that when people, because of something you did. Okay, your social media went through the roof. I'm sure it brought trolls. I'm sure it brought haters. Walk us through. Yeah. Was it just like probably when you first start experiencing it to like that level, it's probably like, it feels so drastic at the time. Now you're like, yeah, I know how to navigate it, walk through it. But what was it like? I mean, how did you walk through it?
I once heard that sharing something creatively is like mentally undressing in front of someone. It's a different level of vulnerability to take something out of here and then present it out here, and then to have someone just trash it.
Yeah.
Right. With an emoji. Like I took all this effort and you just give me an emoji. You're just trash. These are trash. Yeah. And it never feels. I always say this. I've never been hated by another person in motion. And like my slogan is like stay in motion, based on Isaac Newton's law, an object in motion stays in motion unless hindered by an outside force. So it's like that mindset is like, just stay in motion. Regardless of what's on the outside, stay in motion. I have never been hated on by another person in motion. It's always by someone who does not like their current circumstances, who has a dream that is buried beneath like misery, hate, or inadequacy. And so as time goes on, you start to realize that's the pattern. The problem is in a pattern.
Yeah.
It's like that. That's them. Like they can do it. I have to keep in mind, it's like, okay, they're hating on a minute clip.
Yeah.
They haven't even seen the shoe. They never bought the
Yeah.
shoe. And it's so easy. I don't know why it is, but like as humans, like it's so easy to pay attention to the one negative when you got 10
Oh.
other people who actually bought the shoe and
Yep.
spent their hard-earned money.
Yep.
Right. And so like it's so easy to like focus on that. And so I used to like fire back, but then you know what changed it for me? It was when Instagram started paying for reels. Like they started like
Oh.
paying creators for reels. And so like I had posted a shoe, I think I posted a picture in October or a reel in October, and it went viral all the way through December. Well, these people were just like eating me up in the comments. I'm like, bro, this sucks. And then I opened up how much I was making, and they paid for Christmas. I was like, oh.
Hey.
So they're
Keep it going.
Like my silent supporters. And so you learn to troll the trolls, right? So it's like, how do you keep an idiot talking? Right? You ask them questions. Yeah, like and they get offended. Like they just like they get mad. It's like, man, like, oh, why are you so pressed? Like, I'm not pressed. Like, well, tell me more. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And they'll just keep commenting. And the more they comment, the more Instagram doesn't read, oh, this is, they're hating on Shoe Baker. Well, we're not going to.
Right.
No, they read, hey, he's going back and forth with someone. This must be important. Let's share it to more people. Let's share it to more people like this person who might not like the shoe. And so all the while, I'm just getting paid off this one video. And then after a while, like, it would just get old and I would feel bad because it was like, okay, I feel like I'm just taking advantage of them.
Yeah.
Because like they clearly can't read, like they just don't get it. And so at the end, I'll just say, like, I'll break it down to them, or even sometimes because of like the community that I've built they're community of process and journey. They're not a community of product. I mean, I do have another community where they just want to buy things, but then there are people who like they're creators. Hey, how do I get to where you're at? Well, how did you start? And so I would literally screenshot conversations and then take those screenshots and put them in my story and just like do a story about, hey, this person said this, that made me really sick. And then I'll screenshot the money that it's making, like, but then they do it like, it'll be this whole funny thing. So we're laughing in the story and this person is pressed in the comments thinking that they're just eating me alive all the while. Like, and then towards the end of the story, and I do that, I've done this multiple times, I'll actually tag the individual and I'll say, thank you. Like, thank you. Yeah. So I call them my employees is what I call it. And that's when they stop responding. I say, they're employees I don't have to pay. I just have to talk to them. They just need someone to talk to. And so, yeah, like that's just how you handle that. Like you just don't, you don't tolerate it necessarily, but you realize that I'm above this.
Yep.
Like,
yeah. As I coach speakers, especially when you get to, if you're just kind of the everyday speaker, I'm doing Zooms at work or I'm doing my own YouTube video. Okay, that's one thing. But when people start paying you thousands of dollars to engage an audience, I mean, it's a whole different ballgame. And the awesome thing is I found 95% of the people in the audience will never step on stage and communicate at that level. But they'll pour on the critique. You should have done this. You should have done that. So when I walk communicators through, and it was probably the same with you, you got to look at it at a lens of like, okay, I'm going to size up their emotional intelligence, first of all. I mean, so you read the comment and you're like, okay, they got no emotional intelligence. Yeah. Like, all right, I'm going to take it for this grain of, salt. It maybe be different if it was like a, professional speaker or a art,
and it never, like I said, like it never comes from a person emotion.
Right.
Like it's always from like the critic. Like it's the guy sitting on the couch with a purple do-rag, right? Like it's just like, like
in his parents' basement. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like that. That's exactly right, bro. Like it's the difference between a coach and a critic and a critic.
Yeah. Yeah. So a personality type as an artist, are you, I know for me, like I would say I would put myself in the artist category. I am not, when it comes to, I'm not an artist that way, painting, those kind of things. But
you're artist with words.
Yeah, when it comes to
I've seen you in motion, bro.
Yeah, speech craft, when it comes to storytelling, and I've got to be inspired. Like, this is my studio, so this is kind of boring. But if you go over to my office, there's pictures everywhere, and it's eclectic. Talk about your creative process. I mean, how do you get inspired to kind of keep going? Because, especially in your your world, you've got to have the next product. You've got to have the next, thing where people are like, I got to get my hands on that.
I've learned to just create for me.
Oh,
And that's how it started. Because let's think about it. Like when it came to Cool Life Living, how did it start? I was in a screen printing class and I made a shirt that said Cool Life Living, and people loved it, and so I sold it. Right? Like when it came to the Voorhees.
Yep.
Yeah, like the Voorhees. Like how did that start? I was in my garage. I made a size 12 black Air Force One look like Jason with blood splatter. People loved it and it went viral. And so there was a point where I lost that because like and actually now I'm thinking about it. The days that I stopped dreaming, it's because I was dreaming for other people. That was the problem. Is that I would reach this point where I'm dreaming for someone else. I'm trying to impress someone else, right? Versus, man, what do I want to create today?
Goodness gracious, that's powerful.
Yeah, like what do I want to create today, bro? Like, and even now, it's like I have all these projects on my plate, and I carve out time to just simply create, even if that creation is a failure, bro. Like that. Yeah, creation like that. This is mine. No one else has that. There's another one. Oh, that one back there. This is these are sweet, bro. Bro, okay. So what I love about this shoe, and I have yet to wear it. One, I don't know if you can tell. It's over here.
Right here, yeah.
The Joker faces. I made these stickers back when I was selling stuff on Etsy. So I have like a whole wad of them, right? And so this is actually acrylic. Not acrylic, but resin that I made out of I made a bat symbol out of resin. Wow. Right. And so I was just playing around with the shoe. This is like the Batman's arm thing right here. Now the stickers, I was just toying around. Right. And I was like, man, like, well, I really like that design. I'm going to try to put the sticker on. I had a heat gun and I melted the sticker on the Batman symbol. Bro, This is amazing.
Wow.
Like this is, people have tried to buy this design for me. I don't want to make it because like I enjoy making it. But like the ideas, the best ideas come from like when you're creating for you. Even like now that I'm in like childhood development, like as far as like teaching, studies show that it's like you want to create autonomy in your classroom. So you want to create a safe place where no matter what they do, they can run, jump, play, get into stuff. They might make a mess. And it's the same thing with parenting. Like when you have a baby, like just put the baby on the floor. Like you don't need all these toys. Just put the baby on the floor and just watch the baby.
Yep.
The baby's going to crawl. It's going to get into stuff. As long as the environment is safe, you give the child autonomy. The reason you want to do that is because like you learn better when you do it yourself. So if I am interested in a thing, I'm going to learn about a thing versus, hey guys, today we're going to be learning how to like blah, 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 like do whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily interested in that. Right. And so that same principle, this goes back to like navigating, like back to childlike wonder. Is as adults, like, are you carving out time for yourself to just simply be? What did you do what did you do for yourself today?
Yep.
Like, what did you read that you wanted to read? Not because you had to read it in order to do this. Like, what did you create today that you wanted to create? What did you draw that you wanted to draw? What did you write that you wanted to write?
Yeah.
Right. And when you do that, you learn that like the amount of information that you retain from doing that is so much more powerful. I have so many shoes on this wall. Every single one of them started out as a mistake. Like they're burner shoes. But I learned something from it and then I kept going because I learned from it. And so like that creating a space for autonomy, and that's hard for some people because a lot of people need structure. I'm super ADHD. I love autonomy. I love like we could be on a pod right now and someone says, hey, let's go skydiving, bro. I'm so down right now. I'm like, that is awesome. Right. So like, but like that level of like childlike wonder. And I think that every adult needs to possess that or to navigate towards it. But far too many adults are too busy being adults.
Yeah.
And they lose it.
Yeah. That's so good.
So how do you stay inspired? Create for you.
Yeah.
Do carve out a couple of hours a day or a couple of hours a week or a day in the week to just like, what do I want to do today?
Yep.
And watch where it takes you.
Yep. Oh, I love that. Brother, I'm telling you what, this conversation has blessed my life so much. You have provided me with a page full of notes and incredible wisdom. I mean, it's just incredible. So as we kind of steer this in, because I could keep talking to you for hours. Like we're going to have to do a part 2 of this conversation or a whole other topic at some point because this is so good. let me ask you, we're creating this library, this online library for leaders to go to. It's just simply a Google spreadsheet, but it's just filled with all the best of the best from all of our podcast guests and all the resources that we've found for leaders to invest in their communication and their leadership skills. So when it comes to a speaker, is there somebody that you listen to that's like, oh my goodness, every time, fill me up, love how they communicate, connect with me? Is there someone that comes to mind?
As far as speakers, there's this guy called Tim Ross. Now, this is like he's a really good communicator. And the reason I find him very interesting is because he's at a crazy level of authenticity.
Oh,
he's in. Do you know who Tim Ross is? Okay,
I for sure do.
Authenticity, bro. Yeah, and it's just and he says what he says and he means what he means, and I love that level of just communication, because it's even if he said the wrong thing, he'll double back and then recommunicate it, right, or apologize, right? But it's very rare that he says the wrong thing, because he pauses.
Yep.
You pay attention to how he talks. Not many people. Some people are very quick to talk, very quick to speak. Especially as men, we're very quick to speak.
Yep.
No, shut up.
Yep.
Pause. Let people wait for what you have to say.
Yeah.
And when people have to wait for what you have to say, they respect what you have to say.
Yep.
Because you took time and you thought about it. And he pauses, and then he speaks.
Yep.
And a lot of stuff that comes out of his mouth is very controversial because it doesn't align with the North American church.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of stuff that he says needs to be said.
Yeah.
And some people may agree with that. Some people may disagree. But remember, you never want to create a shoe that everybody wants.
Yeah.
You want to create a shoe that half of the people love and half of the people hate. Controversy is a great marketing tool.
That's good. Oh, that's good. All right. A podcast or YouTube channel, whether it's guilty pleasure or, learning development, is there just something that you keep going back to? You'd recommend to somebody, it's so good. You're going to learn a ton.
Well, so I'm really big into early childhood development. So, one book I'm reading is The Whole Brain Child.
Yeah.
I just keep revisiting that book. And the reason is that I think that everybody needs to read it, honestly. The reason being is that in every man is a little boy and every woman is a little girl. And that the more you learn how to nurture a child, you learn how to heal the child in you. And so that's a book. The Whole Brain Child is a really great book. Man, I'll say another book that I'm that I revisit, that I named my son after, thanks to you, is In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day. If you have a hard time making decisions or chasing that dream, read that book. That's all I gotta say.
I love
Lion on a Snowy Day.
Man, it was such a blast giving you that book, and
it blessed me.
And then talking to you afterwards, because it did the same, and it just ignited me. I'm like,
yes,
this was a word that I needed. Absolutely. I love it.
And as far as podcasts, I'm the type of person that I find the song and I will listen to that song on repeat over and over and over for a solid month. So I'm not the best person to ask about a podcast. But I do need to listen to more. But during my commutes, I listen to audiobooks. And so if I went through the list, my audiobook selection is very eclectic. I love learning about different cultures. I love learning about communication. Crucial Conversations is a really great book. Crucial Conversations. It looks like a boring book based on a cover, but it's like having coffee with the author.
Wow.
Really great book. And so the three that I listed have been the most revolutionary as far as my life. But yeah, just learning about childhood development, heal the inner child. As far as communication, I'm a much better communication because of the relationships that I've experienced. But then also that book, it taught me that I'm assertive. But it taught me not to try to win the argument, but to win the person. Right. And then how you do that based on your communication style.
Yep. Oh, well, my friend, this has been such a powerful conversation. I know it's going to bless a lot of people.
Forward to this.
Man, tell us what's the best place people can find you online?
Best place to find me online. Do not shoot me an email. Send me an email, but it's very hard for me. Like I just don't check emails. I'm a millennial. Like we're not good at that. So I would say Instagram. So you can
Yeah.
even go to my personal Instagram at I_CSEE_motion. But then my Shoe Baker Instagram, I'm checking that daily. Would be Shoe Baker _ATL. And so, like I said, I'm a millennial. Social media is the new email.
I love it. And we'll link to all that in the show notes. We'll put it in the Speak with People community Facebook group. And you've inspired me. I'm going to save up. I would love to get a pair of, shoes with Speak with this, let you do your magic to the Speak with People logo. Oh, it'd be awesome.
That'd be sick, bro.
It'd be awesome.
Hey, just let me know, bro. Let me know the size, man. I got you.
Oh, brother. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Speak with People podcast. We hope that you were encouraged. We hope that you were inspired and challenged to improve your communication skills. I want to thank you again for being a part of the Speak with People podcast community. Make sure you don't miss out on being a part of the Speak with People Facebook community group. Just head to Facebook, type in Speak with People, scroll down and join our community, because every single day we're encouraging each other. We're helping each other to improve our communication skills. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.